Who remembers the comedy show in the 80s, Alice Smith and Jones? Who's old enough? Yeah. So when I was young and I was living in Holland, I really loved that show, and there was a segment in it where they used to sit opposite each other, facing each other very close, like this, look each other in the eye, and then they used to challenge each other's perception or take things from a different viewpoint. So that's what I like to do tonight as well, before I tell you the work I've been doing at the moment. And so I always call this talk now and now for something completely different. So I like to ask you to think about what you know about your ancestors, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, your great-great-grandparents. What do you really know about them? And how does that make you feel? Think about it. And think about the poverty they had to go through, the wars, the migrations, the economic disasters, everything they had to go through in order for you to be here today. And how does that make you feel? Because what do you really know about that? What do you know about them? So at the moment we're facing one of the biggest crises in humanity we've ever had. The migration of millions of people all over the world is bigger than anyone can imagine. The UN estimates that it's 24 million people are refugees at the moment. That's even without the 5 million Palestinians. Many more millions are migrating for whatever reason all over the world, and as we know, many are coming to Europe. And I'd like to tell you a little bit about myself. So I'm an economic migrant. As you can hear, I'm not English, I'm Dutch. And I came to London in 2001 to start a business. So I'm an economic migrant. And my surname, Aarts, I'm from Maastricht in the Netherlands, and the Aarts is not a common name, but it's very from that region. People of my generation, they will know that I'm from Maastricht because of my surname. So you could say that I'm very Dutch. But then, am I? My mother's surname was Belfoy. Belfoy is a French name, and her family had to flee France 225 years ago to be safe in order to be alive, because they were of French aristocracy, and during the French Revolution they weren't safe, and the people were killing all of the aristocracy. So, you know, how can I ever say to anyone, you can't come and have a better life for yourself? You can't come and be safe. And that's really what we're facing at the moment. So now I ask you again, what do you know about your ancestors, your grandparents, your great-grandparents, your great-great-grandparents? And how does that make you feel? So, just a quick thing in between, I just think about it now. Who knows how many ancestors you had 500 years ago? If we say that you have 2 parents, 4 grandparents, 8 great-grandparents, 16 great-great-grandparents, and let's say our parents are 75, our grandparents are 100, how many people would have to come together 500 years ago in order for you to be here? Who has an idea? Anyone? Many, yes, but 1,000, 1,500, what do you think?
460.
No, it's a lot more than that.
Wow.
So, I only have a few minutes. So, it's 524,288. So more than 500,000 people had to come together 500 years ago in order for you to be here today. If one of them wouldn't have been alive long enough to marry or come together and have a baby, you wouldn't be here. So that's how special each and every one is. 500,000 people.
Wow.
So how does that make you feel?
Special.
Grateful.
So, and to be honest, the real number is a lot higher. The real number is 1,048,576, because 2 plus 4 plus 8 plus 16 plus 524,000 is 1,048,000. So that's how special you are. If one of them wouldn't have been here, in order for you, then you wouldn't be here. If one of them wouldn't have a baby together, you wouldn't be here. So, a few of you saw me speak here a few months ago, and I was a top chef a few years ago. Now I do totally different work, but about half a year ago I was looking after someone's house, and they were on holiday, and they sent me a text and they said, Leon, a friend of us is going to stay overnight. You probably won't see him. He comes at 11 and leaves at 7, but just so you know. And at 11 o'clock I heard someone shout at the door, hello, and I was in bed watching a video, and I thought, I better get up and say hello to him. And we started chatting in the kitchen with a cup of tea for a few hours, because he was facing some challenges, and we never spoke afterwards again. But you know, as you do nowadays, you become Facebook friends. And I got a young son. So then 3 months ago he sent me a Facebook message and said, Leon, we were thinking of starting up a kitchen in the camp in Kelle, and we were thinking of you. And without thinking about it, I don't know why, I said, yes, I'm in. And then I sent him another message and said, did you know I used to be a chef? And he said, no, I had no idea, because we didn't speak about it that night. Anyway, a month later, and I don't know, I mean, the last time I camped was, well, probably 30 years ago when I was 18. And a month later, I find myself on a van to Kelle to help set up a kitchen there, which we did, and that was amazing. We started cooking 500 meals a day for the migrants in what we call the jungle, and then we started to do 500 breakfasts as well. And that's why I started this story today about that, because I'm not here to change any of your opinions, but I went there not because I'm a chef. At the moment I'm not even cooking there anymore. I do a lot of other work. I share that with you in a minute. But these people are people like you and me. They're human beings. And that's often forgotten. I mean, if we go on a coach now, we can be there in 2 hours. That's all it takes. 2 hours, and we're in the camp. These people, they live in almost middle-aged conditions. It's really sub any standard the UN gives for refugee camps. There is like a toilet for every 150 people, who is cleaned once a week. There's like 5 or 6 water points for, well, we don't know how many people are there, but it's a lot more than the press tells you. We reckon it's about 9,000 people. And I've been in camp now the last 2 months, most of my time, and it's human beings like me, you and me. The stories you hear, it's just unbelievable. Anyone who says these people come here to have a better life, go and talk to them. And you know, think about your own lives. Think about what our family has gone through for us to be here living in London. And when you go home later, you know it is probably very cold, and you know in 20 minutes or 40 minutes later you can turn on the heating. No one will go through a life like this, a journey of many, many months to get to a camp and live like this and don't know what the future might look like. And the stories you hear, what these people, I started shaking. When I was thinking about the stories you hear from these people, what they've been going through, it's just amazing. And there's a few people here who work in the camp as well. It's so I started that kitchen with some other people, and we started to feed for 500. And the second week when I was there, I'm about a week here and a week there, I thought, Leon, you can do more, because we were feeding 500 twice a day, but there's about 9,000 in camp. And there's no official charities there. You don't see the UN, you don't see any government. The only government you see is lots of police who make it really, really difficult. So, and there's lots of volunteers who just give their time and energy. And I realized that we can do more. So I started to talk to people, and I thought we can feed the whole camp. Because there's lots of people from England who give donations, who go down and bring stuff, but it's not coordinated. So what we started to do is coordinate, how long do I have? Oh wow, no, that's not 9 minutes. And so we started to coordinate it, and there's a whole team of people now. Tomorrow, Wednesday, I go back very early tomorrow morning. We open a kitchen where we can do about 3,000 meals a day, and we open that off-site, and we can feed 3,000 people twice a day. That's almost half the camp. And because the only reason why we do this is because it's human beings like us. So and now we have a template in Kelle where that's happening, and I've been asked to go and do the same in Greece. There's many people doing that already, but as you know, there's tens and 10,000 of people. Because I truly believe that this crisis we see, you know, when you Many people say there will be a new economic crisis, there will be a banking crisis, and that will be the making or breaking of humanity. I believe this migration of people, that will be the making or breaking of humanity. How we deal with this as human beings, because our governments, and most people are quiet about it, our governments are looking the other way, but we as human beings, if we stand up and say we can't allow this any longer, because it could be any of us, then we can solve it as well. I truly believe that. So what this is what we do, and there's a few other people here, so we feed the people in Keller, and in a little while, a little bit further away as well. So, yeah, that's the story, really. Thank you very much.